Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 15th of October 2021. Very good morning to all, and you can see two best images of the day, and today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs. So watch this video till last. But I am requesting you all the students that you can download our application Careers Cloud from the description box link. After that, you can log in with the email ID, then click on this crack current affairs section to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low, but we are covering the most important questions which can come in every type of exam. This is the hard work of Affairs Cloud team. But how we are covering this current affair? We are providing you daily section and you will see three things. One is detail, second is question and answer format, third is the quiz section which you can attempt on an application on daily basis. Next is the weekly section. Again, you will receive three things. One is detail, second is question and answer format, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on an application on weekly basis. Most important section is the monthly, and we are providing four type of PDFs. One is detail, second question and answer format, third is the best 100 current affairs, and fourth one is the pocket PDF. It means the 2-liners and the 3-liners current affair will be provided to you so that you can revise these current affairs very quickly before your exam. But to enhance your performance further, we are also covering 20 most important topics and we are providing every topic PDF. It means if you want to revise particular one topic or two topics, you can use this topic wise PDF. Then if you are a banking student, we are providing three things. One is detail, second is question and answer format, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application on monthly basis. But all these three things are only related to banking and economy. If you want to cover all the past current affair of 2021 just from single PDF, you can revise from exam PDF. We are providing detailed budget and economic survey. Also expected question and answer will be provided to you so that you can recall that examiner can make these type of questions from budget and economic survey. If you are appearing for your respective state exam, we are covering every state and union territories current affair. So all these things comes under only one subscription. You have to just download our application Careers Cloud, log in with the email ID, then click on this crack current affair section to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. But if you are a new student, you are just starting your preparation, then I am advising you to subscribe for 2 years. And both the subscription prices are very much low, but on both subscriptions, we are providing 10% extra discount if you use this code ASH10. If you have any query, you can email us or you can call us on this email ID or number. So let's start today's current affair, that is 15th of October 2021. But I am requesting you all the students who are watching this video, please like this video. Please share this video at least to your one friend and please subscribe this channel before proceeding to the first question. And we are starting with the most important section, but before that you can join our Telegram channel from the description box link for the notifications. And here is the question: what is the rank of India in the 58th Renewable Energy Country Attractiveness Index of 2021? And this rank is basically released by Ernst and Young or EY's company. Ernst and Young Global Limited. It is London-based organization or United Kingdom-based organization, and they released this 58th number Renewable Energy Country Attractiveness Index of 2021, and India's rank is third. So answer of this question is B. So India has retained its third rank in the 58th edition of this report or the index, and this is a biannual index. Remember, this is a biannual index or report being released since 2003, under which this Ernst and Young ranks the world top 40 countries based on the attractiveness of their renewable energy investment and deployment opportunity. And remember, environment, social and governance. Environment, social and governance measures were used as the key measure for this renewable energy country attractiveness index. And you can also remember that corporate, this is very important, corporate power purchase agreement. So it is also known as PPA agreement. So corporate power purchase agreement index was newly added in the current edition of this renewable energy country attractiveness index. So one index under this index. So corporate power purchasing agreement index, India's rank is 6th out of 30 countries. So the index focuses on the attractiveness of renewable energy procurement and ranks the growth potential of the national corporate power purchase agreement market. So in the corporate power purchase agreement, India's rank is 6th, but in the renewable energy country attractiveness index, India's rank is 3rd. And first rank goes to United States of America, second rank goes to mainland China. And Ernst and Young Global Limited belongs to London, United Kingdom. Now we can move to the next question. You can also see here, India retains 3rd position in the 58th edition of Ernst and Young Renewable Energy Countries Attractiveness Index. who won PETA's India 2021 award for vegan leather initiative. So this is very important because this is the keyword, vegan leather initiative. This was started in Meghalaya, and this is started by James Sangma. So answer of this question is A. So he is currently the Forest and Environment Minister of Meghalaya. So remember, name is James Sangma, who received the Progressive Business Concept Award, which is known as PETA. PETA stands for People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. It means you can say for the conservation of animals, and he received this India 2021 for his Vegan Leather Initiative Award. And he started this an initiative to make vegan leather from pineapples in the northern eastern India, because we are talking about Meghalaya. And what is the meaning of this vegan leather? Vegan leather is a material that mimics leather, but it is created from the artificial or the plant products instead of the animal skin. So that's why we are using the word vegan. And the state administration of Meghalaya is planning to build a museum also to spread awareness about the climate change and protection of the vulnerable animals. And this museum will be called Climate Change Museum. Climate Change Museum, and it will be established by Meghalaya state. And you can also remember this vegan leather will be made from pineapples. So that's why it is known as Pinatex. It is known as Pinatex. It means pineapple leather. So pineapple leather is a non-woven textile material, but it is not made from animal skin. It is also called Pinatex, made from a combination of natural fibers from the pineapple leaf and plastic and resin. So remember, vegan leather is an initiative of the Meghalaya. It is started by the Forest and Environment Minister of Meghalaya, which is James Sangma, and he received this PETA India 2021 award for this initiative. And what is the meaning of PETA? It is People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. This organization was established in 1980. Its headquarters is in United States of America. So let's move to next question, but you can see here the picture of James Sangma to get the PETA's award for vegan leather initiative, and this vegan leather will be established or manufactured through pineapples. Next, we are moving to important question section, but you have to like this video. You have to share this video as maximum as possible, at least to your one friend, and please subscribe this channel before seeing the very important question. And join our Telegram group from the description box link. Here is the question. How much is allocated to Prime Minister Gati Shakti National Master Plan for multimodal connectivity? Very important question, because this Prime Minister Gati Shakti program or the National Master Plan for infrastructure was announced by Prime Minister Modi ji on the Independence Eve. It means on the 15th of August 2021, when he was delivering the independence speech, he announced this Gati Shakti National Master Plan. Very important. And the center government is undertaking efforts for the next generation infrastructure. Remember, this is for the infrastructure to improve ease of living as well as ease of doing business. And this is rupees 100 lakh crore project. So answer of this question is D. So on these lines, Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi had announced this PM Shakti National Master Plan for the multi-modal connectivity or infrastructure plan in his Independence Day speech on the 15th of August 2021. And remember, Gati Shakti is a digital platform. And this platform is collaborating 16 central and departments for integrated planning and coordination to implement infrastructure connectivity projects of more than 1200 industrial clusters. So they will develop more than 1200 industrial clusters, and this digital platform will combine 16 type of ministries and departments so that they can jointly implement this infrastructure connectivity project. And it will lay foundation for economic growth over the 25 years. So this is the infrastructure plan for the 25 years. So you can also remember what is the meaning of this Gati. Gati in English stands for speed, and Shakti stands for power. So it is a campaign to lead more speed and power to the projects by connecting all concerned departments on one platform. And it is also an important part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, or you can say self-dependent India, and will complement projects under the $1.5 trillion national infrastructure pipeline, which was announced by Nirmala Sitharaman ji, and also boost the goal achievement of the 5 trillion economy by the year of 2024-25. So you can remember what is PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, and it is launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and this is infrastructure development for the next 25 years of growth. Next, who becomes India's 21st woman Grand Master? So there are some keywords like 21st, We are not talking about men's grandmaster, we are talking about women grandmaster. And answer of this question is Divya Deshmukh. She is just 15 years old and she belongs to Maharashtra. Exact place is Nagpur. Exact place is Nagpur. So Divya Deshmukh, at 15-year-old from Nagpur, Maharashtra, became the 21st woman grandmaster of India after qualifying in the third woman grandmaster norm. And she attained this feat during the first Saturday grandmaster in Budapest. So she achieved this feat in the Budapest, Hungary, where one tournament was going, which is known as first Saturday grandmaster. And during this tournament, she also qualified for the second norms of international master. So we are talking about grandmaster, but she is also qualified for the international master. Now there is only one norm ahead for her to qualify as an international master. But I think all the students don't know this thing, that who was the first woman grandmaster, because first men grandmaster was Vishwanathan Anand. I think all the students know he achieved this title in 1988. But Subramaniam Vijayalakshmi, remember Subramaniam Vijayalakshmi, she was the first woman grandmaster and she achieved this title in 2001. And recently 70th grandmaster of India in the men's category was Raja Ritvik. And he achieved this title in September 2021. 70th Grandmaster of India was Raja Ritvik. So you can also see here Divya Deshmukh. She is 15-year-old, belongs to Nagpur, Maharashtra, becomes the India's 21st woman grandmaster. And you can also remember about one organization, All India Chess Federation. All India Chess Federation, which was founded in 1951. President is Sanjay Kapoor. And you can also remember the headquarters is in Chennai. Tamil Nadu. Who has partnered with the Bharat Bill Pay Limited to launch a unique payment link named as ClickPay. So you have to remember 2 or 3 keywords here. One is the Bharat Bill Pay. Second is the ClickPay. It is a name of the link by which you can do the transactions. And it is started by Bharat Bill Pay Limited, which is NPCI platform, or you can say NBBL. It is known as NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, Bharat Bill Pay Limited. And the company who started this, it is PhonePe. So answer of this question is B. So the digital payment platform PhonePe has partnered with the National Payments Corporation of India, Bharat Bill Payment Limited, which is known as NBBL, and launched a unique payment link called ClickPay to enable customers to make recurring online bill payments. So you can say the recurring payment link, which will be sent by the biller, will lend the customer directly to the payment page for paying the bill amount instantly. And this feature will facilitate the customer, as it will overcome the need for remembering the unique identifiers and account details associated with the making bill payments. So it will also reduce the errors that are occurring due to manual inputs during the bill payments. So using PhonePe, the users can send and receive money, even recharge mobile phone, data cards, pay at stores, make utility payments, make investment, buy gold, etc. without any error. Because when you enter your detail manually, then you can basically do some type of error. But if all things are pre-fitted, then you have to just click on this link and you have to pay this money. So no error will be there. So this is started by PhonePe and Bharat Bill Payment System, or Bharat Bill Pay Limited System, and the name of the platform is ClickPay. And remember about PhonePe, it was started in 2015, but it was acquired by Flipkart in 2016. Its headquarters is in Bengaluru, and CEO is Samir Nigam, not Sonu Nigam. Samir Nigam. You can also see here PhonePe and NBBL partner to launch ClickPay. Next question is, who signed a memorandum of understanding with Indian Institute of Foreign Trade to increase the knowledge base of Indian micro, small and medium industries? And answer of this platform is PayPal. So D is the answer. So again, digital payment firm PayPal signed a memorandum of understanding with Indian Institute of Foreign Trade to increase the knowledge base of Indian micro, small and medium enterprise. So it will be done through the launch of a new platform which is known as IDTFF. This platform will be launched by both organizations, and it stands for India's Digital Trade Facilitation Forum. India Digital Trade Facilitation Forum. And through this forum, they will educate, they will guide, and they will raise awareness amongst the MSMEs about marketing, scaling, digitalization and exports through master classes. It means Indian Institute of Foreign Trade will provide some master classes to the MSMEs, and they will raise awareness, they will guide, they will educate the MSMEs about the marketing, scaling, digitalization, so that they can increase their customer base. So this will definitely help them to expand their customer base and reach a global audience. So this will be done through PayPal, and you can remember PayPal and Indian Institute of Foreign Trade started a new forum which is known as India Digital Trade Facilitation Forum, and by this forum MSMEs will be provided training. And remember about PayPal, President and CEO is Dan Schulman, and headquarters is in California, United States of America. Next question is, who was known as the father of Pakistan nuclear weapons program, who was recently died? So very important question, father of Pakistan nuclear weapons program. This is the keyword for you. Answer of this question is Abdul Qadir Khan. So answer of this question is B. You can also see here the picture of Abdul Qadir Khan. He was 85 years old, also known as father of Pakistan nuclear weapons program, and he passed away in Islamabad. And Abdul Qadir Khan founded the Engineering Research Laboratory, and for the purpose of developing a uranium enrichment capability. But in 1981, this laboratory was named as Khan Research Laboratory, by the name of Abdul Qadir Khan. And after Pakistan defeat to India in 1971, Pakistan wished to build a nuclear bomb as a future deterrent. And Khan was working at a European company involved in building, you can say, centrifuges to enrich uranium. So he was working on the uranium so that maximum to maximum nuclear bombs can be prepared, so that they can save the Pakistan. So you have to just remember, father of Pakistan nuclear weapons program is Abdul Qadir Khan, who was recently died. Now we are moving to next. What is the official tagline for the Asian Football Confederation Women's Asia Cup India 2022? So you can confuse with Under 17 Women's World Cup. Under 17 Women's Football World Cup. This will be hosted by India in 2022. But we are talking about Asian Football Confederation Women Asian Cup India 2022, and the official tagline is our goal for all. Answer of this question is C. So our goal for all implies the unity and collective effort of the Asian football members to create a glorious future for women football. So basically, there is a focus to increase the, you can say, participation of women in football. And AFC Women Asian Cup India 2022 will take place in 3 Indian cities, but only in one state. State is Maharashtra, and 3 Indian cities are, one is Pune, second is Mumbai, and third is Navi Mumbai. So these are the 3 cities, but state is only Maharashtra. And top 12 football teams from Asia will participate in this cup. But it is only the Asian Football Cup tournament related to women, and it will be hosted by India. State is Maharashtra. 3 cities will host this. Tagline is our goal for all. But Under 17 Women Football Cup, which will be organized by FIFA in 2022, will be hosted by India, and the mascot is IBA. You can say the women lioness. And even you can also remember this AFC, Asian Football Confederation. It was established in 1954 and its headquarters is in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now we are moving to the next question. Who participated from Indian side in the 60th non-aligned movement meeting? So very important, the location you have to remember that this NAM meeting, 60th NAM meeting was held in which country? So this was held in Serbia, and exact place is Belgrade. And this is the 60th anniversary of NAM because it was established in 1961. Now we are in 2021, so this is the 60th anniversary of non-aligned movement meeting. And from Indian side, it was attended by Minister of State of External Affairs. It is Meenakshi Lekhi. So Meenakshi Lekhi, Minister of State for External Affairs, participated in the 60th anniversary of the non-aligned movement commemorating meeting at Belgrade, Serbia. And especially she discussed the current developments in the world peace, justice, even situation in Afghanistan, and emphasized the promotion of the mutual sovereignty. But the most important thing here, what is NAM? So non-aligned movement was established in the year of 1961 by like-minded countries which decided not to support either United States of America or the Soviet Union, or you can say Russia or the USSR, in the Cold War of the 2 countries. And now total member countries are 120, so it is a big organization now. Total 17 observer countries are there, and who will get permanent status in the future, and 10 observer organizations are also there. So 120 member countries, 17 observer countries, and 10 observer organizations are there. And even the first meeting, which was happened in 1961, it was also held in Belgrade. So remember, 60th current meeting and the first meeting both happened in Belgrade, Serbia. And at the time, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister, and Pandit ji attended this meeting first time. So remember this, and it is Meenakshi Lekhi, you can see here, visited Belgrade, Serbia from October 10 to 13. Now we are moving to next question. WHO released, or the World Health Organization released, first ever global roadmap to defeat meningitis by which year? So the most important here is the defeat meningitis. So meningitis disease we have to eliminate by the year of 2030, and this is the first ever global roadmap for this disease, and it is released by World Health Organization and its allied organizations, like you can say UNICEF is there, Melinda Gates Foundation is there. So all these organizations have launched the first ever global strategy to defeat meningitis, a disease that kills hundreds of thousands of people each year. So now question arises, what is meningitis? So meningitis is an inflammatory disease that affects the membranes that surround the brain and spinal cord. It can be caused either by bacteria or by virus, while the one caused by bacteria is the most serious one, leading to around 250,000 deaths per year. So this is huge. So as per the current roadmap, WHO and its partner targets to eliminate the bacterial meningitis by the year of 2030 and eliminate, or you can say reduce, the overall deaths by the 70%. So this is the target by the year of 2030. And remember, our World Health Organization, it was established in 1948. Its Director General is Dr. Ted Ross and headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. So you can see here, WHO and partners launched the first ever global strategy to defeat meningitis by the bacterial meningitis by the year of 2030 and eliminate, or you can say reduce, the deaths by 70% by the year of 2030. Which state became top in the India by financing the highest number of units under the Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, so that these units can generate maximum to maximum employment? And this is one and only state is Uttar Pradesh. So answer of this question is A. In 2022 there is election in Uttar Pradesh, and UP government has facilitated total over 123 crore rupees as margin money under the Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, with a total cost of the project worth rupees 450 crore for the financial year of 22. So it means they invested almost 123 crore rupees for the unit, so that they can maximum to maximum generate the employment. And Uttar Pradesh has risen from 14th to second rank in the ease of doing business recently. And remember about this program, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, is a scheme implemented by the Khadi and Village Industry. Khadi and Village Industry, and you can say Khadi and Village Industry Commission, functioning as the nodal agency at the national level, and the same is implemented through the State Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So remember this, it is Uttar Pradesh, just one line question, you can just remember the question as same as in slide. Next is, what is the name of the tool for integration of the climate information in the geographical information system based watershed planning under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme? So very simple, Union Minister of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, and who is the minister? Giriraj Singh ji, virtually launched this CRISP-M. CRISP-M stands for Climate Resilience Information System and Planning. So just remember CRISP-M. It is the tool for integration of climate information in the geographical information system based watershed planning under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. And remember, this tool will be implemented in 7 states only. These 7 states are like UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, I think 3, 4, 5, 6, and Rajasthan is there. So these 6 states are there. And I think all the students know about Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, and it was initiated with the objective of enhancing livelihood security in the rural areas by providing at least 100 days of guaranteed wage employment in the financial year to every household whose adult member volunteered to do unskilled manual work. So it was basically launched in 2005, but it was implemented in 2006. So you can also see here CRISP-M, it is Climate Resilience Information System and Planning Tool for the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme launched. So next is from picture, very simple question. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the one of the platform of G20, and this platform is known as Extraordinary Summit on the Afghanistan. So especially on the issue of Afghanistan, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated on virtual event, and the meeting was convened by Italy because Italy is currently the president of G20. 2021 presidentship lies with Italy, and it is chaired by Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi. Mario Draghi. And issues related to humanitarian situation, terrorism, human rights in Afghanistan were discussed during the meeting. And G20 is the international forum which was established in the year of 1999. It has no headquarter, but you have to remember it was established in 1999, and total member countries are 19, and one organization is member, which is European Union. So total members become 20. That's why it is known as G20. And this is formed to bring together the world's major economies. Now we are moving to next question, but the next question is in the important section. So you have to like this video. You have to share this video as maximum as possible, especially at least to your one very special friend. And please subscribe this channel before proceeding and join our Telegram group from the description box link. Here is the question. Which bank and Fisdom joined hands for the digital wealth management products? So very simple question. This bank name is Indian Bank. So answer of this question is A. Indian Bank made a tie-up with the financial technological company which is known as Fisdom for its mobile banking application to manage the new digital wealth management products. It means Fisdom will offer different financial products such as like mutual funds, insurance, national pension scheme to on its platform, and Indian Bank will provide all the facilities related to this services. It means Indian Bank is the 7th largest public sector bank in India following the merger with the Allahabad Bank. So this partnership make the customers to invest in pension funds, you can say mutual funds, digital gold, even file income tax returns online. So all facilities will be provided by Fisdom, but Indian Bank customers can use these type of facilities through the Fisdom application and even with the Indian Bank application. So you have to remember this is Indian Bank and Fisdom. Next, which state signed a MOU with the NASSCOM to provide industry-aligned skill development experiences to the students of higher education of this state? So very simple question and even important question, that this organization NASSCOM will provide some courses related to skill development to the students of the higher education. It means the university students of this state, and this state is Karnataka. Answer of this question is C. So the State Higher Education Council of Karnataka signed a memorandum of understanding with NASSCOM. NASSCOM stands for National Association of Software and Service Companies, to provide industry-aligned skill development experience to the students of higher education. And the skill development courses will be available on platform of NASSCOM, which is known as Future Skill Platform or Future Skill Prime Platform. So all the universities in the state, either private or the government, are covered under this memorandum of understanding, and it will benefit more than 5 lakh students of the higher education, even studying in the government or the private institutions every year. So courses will be like awareness of the digital fluency, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cyber security. So all these courses will become part of the curriculum. So all the university students of the Karnataka state will get this course at free of cost, which will be provided by NASSCOM on the platform of Future Skill Prime, so that they can get the industry aligned skills during their higher education. So this is the state of Karnataka. Chief Minister is Basavaraj and Governor is Thawarchand Gehlot. Moving to next. Next is one-liner important point. Here is the first point. World Standards Day 2021 celebrated on 14th of October. So World Standard Day is also known as International Standard Day. So this is very important. And this day was chosen to mark the first meeting of the delegates of 3 organizations. One is IEC. IEC stands for International Electro Technical Commission. One is ISO, most important organization, International Organization for Standardization, and ITU. ITU. It is International Telecommunication Union in from 25 countries in London, United Kingdom, who established an international organization for facilitating standardization. So what is the meaning of this World Standards Day? So it is to create awareness about the importance of standardization to the world. So the theme is Standards for Sustainable Development Goals, a shared vision for a better world. So just remember this organization ISO, International Organization for Standardization. Its headquarters is in Geneva. Next, Indian Overseas Bank joined with the Tamil Nadu government one platform which is known as Integrated Finance Human Resource Management System. So Indian Overseas Bank is now integrated with this platform or with this portal designed for the collection of the treasury receipts. With this, Indian Overseas Bank is now authorized to collect all the receipts of the Tamil Nadu government under this portal through both offline and online mode. Next, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar visited 3 Central Asian countries. One is Kyrgyzstan, second is Kazakhstan, and third one is Armenia from 10th of October to 30th of October. It is to further expand bilateral ties between the 3 Central Asian nations and also discussed key regional issues including the development in the Afghanistan. Next is Grow Capital and the Kirana Capital partner to lend micro, small and medium enterprises. So this is very important integration because as per the partnership statement, both organizations were planning to disburse almost 100 crore rupees by the end of financial year 22 to the micro, small and medium enterprises in the manufacturing, trading and the service sector. And they plan to provide finance for the MSMEs in the range of 1 lakh to 30 lakh. It means one MSME can get the loan of 1 lakh to 30 lakh with the tenure of ranging from 1 year to 5 year. It means 12 months to 60 months. And Kirana Capital will complete the process of loan application of loan disbursement within 1 day or 24 hours. So financing could be availed for working capital and asset purchase directly from the Kirana Capital, but there is no collateral to take this loan. So these are collateral free loans. And Kirana Capital, Bengaluru based organization. Next, Union Minister Shri Anurag Singh Thakurji launched nationwide Clean India campaign from Uttar Pradesh. It means exact places, Prayagraj. And this program aims to create awareness, mobilize people and ensure their involvement in the cleaning waste, mainly single-use plastic waste through the country. Even this initiative, 75 lakh kg 75 lakh kg waste, mainly plastic waste, will be collected and disposed with the support and voluntary participation of citizens. So it is launched by Anurag Singh Thakurji. Next, Prime Minister Modi ji virtually addressed 28th National Human Rights Commission Foundation Day program. So you have to remember that National Human Rights Commission was established in 1993 as the Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993, which was amended by Protection of Human Rights Act of 2006. And NHRC was basically established on 12th of October. So that's why it is the 28th Foundation Day on the 12th of October. And who is the currently chairman of NHRC? Recently appointed was Justice Arun Kumar Mishra. Arun Kumar Mishra. He is currently the chairman of this organization. And NHRC, an organization which represents India concern for the promotion and protection of human rights. So now we are moving to the 14th of October 2021 question. So the question was very simple. Name of the bank which was first introduced the merchant banking in India. And answer was Grindlays Bank. So it was in 1967. It was in 1967. So first of all, you have to remember what is merchant banking. So a merchant bank is historically a bank dealing in the commercial loans and investment. In modern British uses, it is the same as an investment bank. So merchant banks were the first modern banks that are involved from the medieval merchants who traded in commodities, particularly cloth merchants. And merchant banking services in India were started only in 1967 by National Grindlays Bank. And this was followed by the Citibank. It means Citibank was the second in 1970 who started this. And the State Bank of India, you have to remember one thing, State Bank of India was the first Indian commercial bank, because these are not Indian, like Grindlays and Citibank is not Indian. So SBI is the first Indian commercial bank who set up a separate merchant banking division in 1972. So SBI, that's why SBI is not in the option, because we are talking about only in India, not the first Indian commercial bank. So if the examiner is asking about first Indian commercial bank, then it should be SBI. Now we are moving to the question of the day. Very simple question. A saving as well as current account should be treated as the inactive if there are no transaction in the account for over a period of dash months. So very simple question. After how many months the current account or the saving account can be deactivated, or you can say inactive, if there is no transaction for that time period. So you have to give me answer only in the comment box. I am waiting your answer. But the students who are watching this video, please like this video. Please share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe the channel if you are new on this platform. And join our Telegram group. Press this bell button so that you can receive the notification on time. It is Affairs Cloud. Promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. Definitely. Don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.